But the one that has kind of been in the discourse for the last week now, Matisse Thybulle obviously comes up. Again, it gets interesting as to how realistic it is to get him. But among NBA experienced wings and defensive kind of guys out on the perimeter, Matisse Thybulle is kind of all we can work with. And obviously, before I kind of kick it to you, obviously, he would be perfect for the exact need that is kind of at the top of the list right now, which you heard Mike Brown say it after the game against the Pelicans. Obviously, they didn't have De'Aaron Fox, who he calls the head of the snake, rightfully so, on both ends of the floor. But he talked a lot about not containing the dribble and letting guys get deep in the paint. That's been an issue for the last couple of weeks. It's been an issue at different points all season, but it just kind of really seems to be bogging down the defense right now. And it's not just allowing like paint points. It's allowing teams to kind of go off from three and get good looks that you would see the Kings get on the other end. So kind of shoring up that perimeter defense, not getting guys again driving into the paint, getting deep, forcing help from Sabonis or whoever the big man is, and exposing all sorts of things or forcing rotations. You hear Katie Christensen say it a lot on the broadcast. You don't want to get stuck in where you have to constantly have to rotate, because the Kings are good at rotating, but from time to time, but it's just like that's not a sustainable thing. You're running around and you get a lot of broken plays that way. And again, it doesn't work out in the long run. So addressing that specific need, which really hit a low point in that Pelicans game, where Mike Brown came out and said, I don't know if we're all in, like we talked about at the beginning of the season. Obviously, that was more of him challenging the team than him really questioning their ambitions and whether or not they're bought into what they're trying to do there. But Thybulle, obviously, kind of long-winded way of saying Thybulle would be perfect. He fills that hole if you can get him perfectly, and he has experience in the league doing it. How realistic do you think it is to get Thybulle? I mean, at this point,
man, I wish it was more realistic than I honestly think it is. I mean, just kind of looking at what the Kings have, and kind of going to just anyone in general, where the Kings need a backup center or a backup wing. Like all of those people that the Kings have been mentioned with, or are interested in, like Noel, Plumlee, even Thybulle. It's like they're all getting interest from other places as well. And I mean, what do the Kings have to give up? TD and a second round pick, and maybe someone wants Rashawn Holmes and sees them as valuable. I just don't see it as realistic. Just because I bet another team could offer something better. You would love to maybe just try to swap TD and Thybulle. I think that would work out financially wise, and they're both on expiring contracts. I know Philly's looking to cut some cap space, so maybe you can bring. I did this mock trade earlier today. It was Thybulle and then Daniel House, Harrell, and Paul Reed for Holmes and Terrence Davis in a second rounder. They're not really cutting salary in that sense, because Holmes is, he's under contract for a couple more years, making $11 million a year. So I don't know. It's just hard to find a trade where the Sixers get somewhat better, because they're a playoff team trying to go to the finals and stuff. So maybe like taking Harrell's and House's contracts can kind of persuade the Sixers to give Thybulle up for them. But then again, you'd have to give up Holmes as well to meet salary. Or I don't know, maybe you can fit in Alex Len there, because he's an expiring contract as well. It's just not a lot to give. Like what I'm saying right now, it's either you're not really giving them anything and they're losing a second or a two-time second all-defensive team player, or you're giving them, a guy in Rashawn Holmes who hasn't really proven anything as a backup center this year. And although the Sixers need a backup center, like at $11 million a year for 2 more years or 1 more year after this, and who hasn't done anything as a backup this year, it's just, I don't know. Why would they do that at the same time? Unless, Harrell has really been not the best option for them, and neither has Reed. And they're looking to go for a deep run in the playoffs. So maybe they see Holmes as a guy that maybe can fit into their system better. But other than those kind of trades right there, I think it's one that would have to have Davis or at least Lynn in it. Um, it just doesn't seem realistic. I just think someone else can offer something better.
Yeah, I agree with that premise. That kind of has seemed like it's been the thing that's lingered around any trade speculation or rumors. And also, it's just like, you're getting into issues, and you're drifting into pure conjecture and fantasy when you start going like, you start throwing around all these, like, you just, all these names. And it's just like, at the end of the day, it's like, what the hell would Philly want with Holmes? It just sounds like the desire to have Thybulle is the thing that's shining through here more than any legitimate option to get Thybulle.
Yeah, and to I was talking to I mean, I'm not talking to like the Sixers GM. I'm not talking to Daryl Morey over here, but I don't know too much about the Sixers, so I reached out to a Philadelphia Sixers 76ers fan account, kind of like what we do, like a blog type of thing. And I was like kind of asking him like, all right, like what would the Philly be interested in from the Kings? And like, would you be interested in giving up Thibault for like these players or something along these trades? And I was throwing trade ideas at him. And like I said, he's not the GM, but he kind of has a better sense of what the Sixers need and what the Sixers want. And so he was just like, yeah, like honestly, probably not. Like this just, it wouldn't help us out. Why would we do this? I get Thibault is a guy who's kind of fallen out of Doc's rotation. At the same time, he's a 2-time second defensive player of the year. He's not getting that many minutes this year, but I mean, why would you just trade Thybulle for Davis? I mean, Davis is a better shooter, so I can maybe see that, but Thybulle is definitely elite at something in the NBA, where whatever the Kings give up, it's not really an elite skill.
Right. I think it'd be interesting. You should ask that guy, the Philly guy, how he feels about getting James Wiseman, because I know the Warriors are interested in Thybulle as well. That would be interesting. See, it's like, it's a shame. Like, sometimes I kind of wish that the Kings were stuck with someone like Wiseman rather than Holmes.